I don't know. You know what? I live in the dream, I guess. I put this thing in motion myself. Are we recorded? Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I recorded it.
Like I put this thing in motion. I signed up in April of '08. I had an idea about it, but not really much of an idea. I don't know. And then I think most people have a sign up date and a start date, and rarely are they the same date. And so, one thing is just make peace with that. I think some people get hung up on that. It won't do you any good if you do. And then, sorry, I'm opening my screen so I have my notes from what we talked about. And any time, Whitney, on this thing, just take me the direction you want to go. I know we're rolling tight till 7. So, so anyway, on the intro side of it, I had this idea of what it could be, and then it really grew on December 29th of 2008. I was one of those monthly winners in the $1 Million Body Game, which is now what they call the Beachbody Challenge. They've renamed a few things over the years. And I did more in the next 8 days than I had done in the prior 8 months in my business. And I was like, wow.
I think we lost you for a second.
What? Oh.
Okay. Yeah, we lost you at wow.
Okay, so like the only thing that changed for me on that date was my enthusiasm. So I went, wow, I just did in 8 days what took me 8 months to do. So I need to be more enthusiastic. I need to let that fly. I need to just, go do the thing and just not be worried about whatever. Like you don't pay your bills with other people's feelings. I know I just wanted to go help a lot of people. So what does that look like? And I stumbled and fumbled my way through it. And I really probably talked more people out of it than I talked into it, which sounds weird. I'm not just talking about the ratio of no's to yeses. I'm talking about I'm a talker and I could just go blah, 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 blah. And I'm telling you my P90X story and my life story, my this and that. Next thing you know, people are like, what do I have to do to get away? And so that wasn't cool. It's not what I wanted. It was just, I think everybody at that time was kind of puking their P90X stories up because that's all we really had at the time. And Shakeology had just come out mid '09. And that was a big game changer for our business because before, to stay active was just a freaking nightmare. Like it was multiple products. You had to have like recovery drink, vitamins, and other vitamins. And you always knew when somebody was when they had quit their workouts, you found out too late because they had stopped their auto ships of those things. Because like who needs recovery drink if you're not working out? It's not like Shakeology where it's a great idea regardless if you're working out, So I watched my numbers climb with the advent of Shakeology. And then the big game changer for me was in October of '09. They came up with the first leadership event Beachbody had ever had. And they introduced this system called the game plan. Okay, today that's now the 4 vital behaviors. They try to simplify it down, simplify it up, however you want to look at that. Mm-hmm. And for a while it was 3, but then they go, okay, you really need these 4 things. The 10 points were all super valid. Like number 10 was be here in a year. And they had to put that down there because it wasn't a company full of people like me where I had been in business as a real estate person and I had my butt kicked up and down the block. Like I know what hard work is and I know what rejection is. And I know that you have to go through a lot of no's to get to somebody who wants to do what you have or even needs what you have. And in real estate, it's like a fraction of 1% needs to do a deal at any given time. So in that business, you're really sorting like crazy, trying to find who needs to do it. Like picture yourself at a movie theater on a busy weekend night and the place is just packed and there's people everywhere, right? There's probably 1,000 people at any given time, like in that scenario. One or two might need to do a real estate deal out of that whole group as just a simple sample audience of people.
Right.
But then on Beachbody stuff, you're like, holy cow, they all need what we have. So while that's really great and it makes life so much easier, the slippery slope is getting caught up with people who are not your tribe. And that's why I really love the opportunity to get to speak to your team, Whitney, is because I feel like you are a very dynamic person in very, very authentic in creating your tribe. That's a big deal to you. And I've seen other people that are really, really successful in this business, and that's exactly what they did. And that duplicates really, really well. So when you think about what that looks like, really it's about who are your key 12 people. And right now you may not have a key 12 people. You might have like a key 2 people. You might be new and you might have no people. That's okay. Wherever it is whatever it is. And believe me, there's an ebb and flow to this business, just like life. And so sometimes you find yourself in a place where you're like, wow, I used to have all these people and then now I don't. So somewhere within that range, whatever. The answer is we all need more people. So the easiest way I see to do that is truly to understand who you are, what you love, why you love it. And it's so much easier to talk about those things And then I think another aspect of that that's super important is allowing people the space to kind of go down the path. And I think that over time, it's been, maybe you call it economy to scale, that we've all been tuning this Beachbody thing of how to do it for so long that it's so much easier than it ever used to be. Well, guess what? That also means it's faster. And so some people feel rushed. Some people are like, wow, I just signed up. Like, what's the coach thing? Like, some people need that space as a retail customer and some don't. I signed a girl up on my team last week who already loved our products. She hadn't even done our workouts. She just knew that they were awesome because she had close family friends who had done them and she had seen the results. She's a lifetime fitness kind of person. So she's like, yeah, I love that stuff because of what it's done for my people that I love and care about. And so I thought, okay, well, is that enough? And then, and she goes, yeah. And she goes, and I've tried Shakeology and I really like that. She goes, I don't really know what it is, but I just know that I feel good with it. So I'm like, okay. So I dug a little bit more. Like, what are you doing? What are you taking? How are you eat? Like, what's your life like? And next thing you know, I find out that she is, this girl's all of 23 and she's pretty freaking sharp for 23. I got to tell you, she thinks she's sharp for any age really. But it was neat because she goes, yeah, I'm already spending this much money on these kind of vitamins. I'm spending this much money on these because I feel those are really important. And I'm going, wow, those are already in Shakeology. So if you just stop buying those, that already pays for Shakeology plus has all these other things in it. She's like, wow, I'd be an idiot not to take the stuff. I'm like, yeah. So that's what we want to have happen in our conversations is we want people to get to, just appreciate and go, wow, I would be remiss if I don't want to be an idiot. I would be remiss if I didn't say yes to this. So it's unwinding what that looks like in a nutshell. And I'll tell you right now, you could give the greatest presentation ever where you hit every point where you're just on it. You're like, wow, I just shared from the heart. That was the best speech I've ever given or the best talk I've ever given. Oh my gosh, I hit a home run. And you're like, what the hell? Why didn't they sign up? Because you can get the greatest presentation to the wrong person. They aren't going to get it. You can give the worst presentation to the right person and they will get it. So when I think about sorting through people to find who wants to do this, I think, like I said, our slippery slope is that really, truly, everybody needs what we have. I mean, world-class nutrition, world-class fitness, and a world-class business. Who doesn't need that stuff? Like, everybody wants to be healthier. Everybody wants to make more money. So, but not everybody's going to want to do this business. Some people just won't, and that's okay. And so when you find somebody who, maybe let's give an example, somebody who loves these products, they're in your challenge, and then you're just like, man, this is just not lining up. They are not getting why I do this, or they're just not seeing how they could be so great at this. And for whatever reason, they're not getting it. To me, I absolutely want to hit the brakes and be like, wait a second, my conversation needs to be about referrals. How do I get them to introduce me to the people they know? Because maybe they don't need to sign up, but what if they give me 4 or 5 referrals? Do you realize the power of a referral? I mean, it's really significant because let's use this girl that signed up with me last week. She happens to work with my stepdaughter. They worked together at the last 2 places they worked. And my stepdaughter recommended that she talk to me. Now, let's just say that they're both waitresses at the last place. And let's say I'm at their restaurant and this girl doesn't know me from anything. And some reason it just clicks. And she's like, oh, you have a P90X shirt, blah, blah, or whatever. And it comes up and we have the best conversation. I hit everything on point. I guarantee it's 100 times harder to get that person to the finish line than it is to get the referral person to a finish line. The referral person has this innate trust because they're like, wait a second, this is so-and-so's friend, or this person has vouched for them. There's some, I don't know if this is a fake word or not, comfortability. Is that like a George Bush word? I used to make a lot of good words, but whatever. And so they have this innate feeling of safety. They're like, well, it's like, and anybody who's from Bakersfield who's on this thing knows that town's like the 2 degrees of separation. And so it's really easy to check up on people and do business with who you know and like and trust. And you know how most towns are. That town's, I think, very evident of that if you do wrong by somebody, that word travels fast. I mean, it takes a lot longer for good news to get around than it does the bad news, unfortunately. So I just feel like the sorting game is really where we want to get great. And I was taught a long time ago that they use this story where, imagine you're walking downtown some big city and there's a tall building that's wrapped with Dixie cups. And there's this doorman standing outside and you're looking at this like, hell, what's with these rows of Dixie cups? And the guy, you look at it and you ask the doorman, you're like, hey, what's the deal? And the guy says, oh, there's some priceless diamonds underneath some of those cups. And he's like, seriously? Yeah. He goes, if you can find them, you can have them. And that is the greatest metaphor for what we do. We're turning cups over and turning cups over. But what if you keep turning the same cup over? The damn thing's empty. Like, move on. And bless and release. Because you don't know, I don't know, none of us know what's really going on in somebody's situation. Behind closed doors, people can be a mess. Behind closed doors, they can be amazing. Who freaking knows? We don't know. And so when you realize that you're not investing money in this business, you're investing time in this business. I mean, like, I've owned real estate shops, and so I know what it takes to open a business, and I have a lot of entrepreneurs in my family. I'm already well versed in that, so I come with a different appreciation to the table of what this is, and the fact that it's just easier than getting into real estate or getting into whatever. Like I'm not licensed for real estate in Oregon, and if I wanted to go do deals here, that's a 6-month, $2,000 process at a minimum, and that's being conservative. That's very minimal. It might be longer than that because it's a state thing. You're getting a license from a state. It might cost more money by the time I get it done. I don't know what it'll do, but it's at least a couple thousand, and it's at least 6 months. You can be a Beachbody coach right now, and you can make money next Thursday. And so, I looked at my first year in real estate. I did really, really well. I hustled. I really did. And I focused in on 2 neighborhoods, and it was where Kelly, who's my wife obviously now, but back then we were just dating. And then I guess, no, we were engaged by this point, whatever. So anyway, I was in her neighborhood, and then by her, where she taught school, I was in those neighborhoods a lot. So guess what? I dominated by knowing everything that was going on in those neighborhoods with properties. I started walking my dogs in those neighborhoods. I started just being like, I'm going to know everything there is to know about those particular spots. And when I would see somebody tapping a for sale by owner sign in the yard, I was like, ooh, I'm going to go have a conversation while I'm walking my dog. That adds that comfortability because they're like, hey, this guy must live here. Why would he be here walking his dog? Well, I lived a couple miles away, but she lived there. And so it was just a natural thing to be able to spark up a conversation with him. And really, truly, it was not to get the deal. It was to get to know them. And then maybe if there's enough trust that gets established, there's enough rapport that happens, right off the bat, then maybe I can say, hey, you know what? I don't know what your plan is, but if you end up deciding you want to list this thing, I happen to be a real estate agent in this area. I specialize in this neighborhood. I would love to help you. So if that sounds good, let me know, or would you like to know more about that? You ask, it's better to say, would you like to know more about that? That works far better than saying, let me know. Let me know is kind of the kiss of death in the communication sales process. And so, but again, it comes back to building relationships. And guess what? All I needed to do was get that one deal. When I got the one deal, then the next one, then the next one, then I went and knocked doors. I'm like, hey, you know what? I live over here. I'm selling this house over here. I just want to let you know in case maybe you have family or friends who might want to live in the neighborhood. That's kind of cool. And blah, blah, blah. And seriously, that's how I built my book of business. Now, mind you, I worked really smart. I worked really hard, as efficient as I could. I pulled in about $100,000 in commissions in my first year in real estate. And when I got to tax time, there was $19,000 to show for that. So $81,000 went to fees and taxes and advertising and business fees and fees and fees and fees. There's a lot of fees. I could have waited tables and made more money than I did selling real estate. And that's the hard reality for most people that go get in that business. They think, oh, but I'm going to go make like $7,000 on a commission. Yeah, no, you're not. The house is going to take over half, the house being the broker you work for. And then you have E&O insurance, you have transaction coordinator fees, title escrow fees, you have all these things. Then let's say somebody screws something up in the deal and it's you. Then you're getting the checkbook out to cover something you messed up. It goes fast. And I was like, wow, I come from that appreciation of I've had to work super hard to not make a lot. And I kept building and building on it. And having owned real estate shops and having a pretty thriving career in that, I think the numbers are worse than what they say when they say that, 20% of the people make 80% of the money. I think it's more like 90-10 or even 95-5. So in this business, we don't have that. In this business, we're in a far more level playing field because we're not in a pool of so few people. Because remember, if there's only 1 or 2 out of 1,000 that need to do a real estate deal, then that's pretty freaking hard. But with what we have, everybody needs what we have. So to put a little bit of maybe compare and contrast this number-wise, and then I'm gonna take a breather just to look through here to make sure I'm cover what you wanted to get covered tonight. Is that statistically, people in America, Canada is included, North America, know 7 realtors by first name. Now, mind you, that commercial brokers are not realtors. Realtor is a brand designation, it's like a union, like a trade group, right? So the residential people are realtors, commercials are not. 7 by first name. And so it's not easy to go get the deals because you have so much competition. And in a lot of markets, competition is really, really good. I mean, when you have a lot of high class people that are just really good people doing, that business, it's not easy to compete because you're like, wow, it's not like I would say anything bad about those people, but their work usually shows for itself. And so I guess my point is that when you look at what we have, everybody needs what we have, but to make it efficient for you so that you're not spinning your wheels, talking to the people that, you turn over a cup and you're like, I think it's a diamond, but what if they're not your kind of person, or they're just not getting you? Like, the faster that you can qualify somebody, the better you are at this business. And so I learned that in the beginning in real estate. They talked a lot about that. And in real estate, it's a little bit easier to have that conversation because they're either pre-qualified for a loan or they're not. In the commercial world, I think it's a little bit tougher because a lot of guys are going to pay cash, or a lot of people are going to, they're like, oh, I have my financing tied up. And you're trying to find out, like, who is it through? If it's a residential deal, who's your lender? Is it at Countrywide? Is it at B of A? Is it at Wells Fargo? Is it wherever it is, right? But on commercial, it's kind of harder to find that out. So you have to be really good at discovery. You have to be really good at qualifying people. Well, if you just take that mindset to what we do here, you're just trying to kind of see, like, it's not if they have the horsepower to do the deal, because I think anybody can come up with $150. That's not exactly a hard thing. I mean, we've all spent a couple $100 on nights we don't even remember. So, it's not a lot of money. But that's what you're doing. You're trying to find, like, are you full of crap or not? Are you into this or not? Do you really want to do this, or do you need a little time? And then, when you see those cool little graphics, like on the sales statistics, blah, blah, and it says that whatever it is, it's like between follow-up number 6 to 12 is where 86% of deals are done. Holy cow. When's the last time you followed up with anybody 6 times or 7 times or even 12 times? Like, I don't remember anybody I followed up with 12 times, quite honestly. But that's tough because in that window, if that's 86% of any kind of deal done in any kind of sales process ever, and I know it's tough to generalize it that far, but that's the hard truth, then we need to do great at following up. So when you put people in your pipeline, and this rolls into this fourth quarter talk, when you get people into your pipeline, if you only have 4 people, 3 people, 10 people in your pipeline, it can be kind of rough because guess what? It takes time for people to say yes. And I know that when I actually bought the P90X package on the infomercial that night, I only watched the infomercial once, but Kelly and I had been in talks about get a gym membership, do something. We'd been looking at stuff for probably, I don't know, it was probably at least a 4-month conversation off and on, like, hey, are we going to do this? Are we not going to do this? And kind of you get busy with life or whatever. And that's the reality that people go through, is they just aren't ready to start yet. They might just think, oh man, I've got too much going on right now. And in the back of their mind, they're like, yeah, this sounds great. She's awesome. But, maybe after Halloween. Oh, and then the holidays. I'm going to eat whatever I want. I don't know, maybe New Year's. Well, so we have to be fostering those relationships and just keeping in touch with them every so often. And however efficiently you can do that is fantastic, right? And if we put more people in that process, it gets so easy and you start to create momentum. And I'm telling you right now, momentum is everything. If there's anything you're going to protect in your business, it's your momentum. Because when you have momentum on your side, you feel like you could do no wrong. You feel like the world is just like, woo, I'm just floating, I'm flying, everything's great. And then when you have momentum, when you don't have momentum and you feel like, wow, I'm at the bottom of this mountain, and you're like, man, the whole world feels against me. Like, has anybody ever felt like that? Because I felt like that last week. It happens. So the more that we do to get momentum on our side and just keep that ball rolling, the better everything gets, the easier this business gets. Because when you get that momentum rolling, I'm telling you, then whenever crud happens in your life, or you get a bunch of no's or whatever, you're like, whatever, it's cool. Let me know when you're ready. I'm busy. I got a lot of people to help over here. It's totally cool. Seriously, do your thing. I'm here to help you. I want to help you, but you have to want to help yourself. Like, you need to participate in your own rescue. And that's what we all have to do for our business. We have to participate in our own rescue, because just like Whitney can't drink Shakeology for me, or she can't do the workouts for me, I can't build the business for you. Like, we each have to do these things for ourselves. And that, I feel, is like one of these quintessential things to just go, wait a second, I have to take responsibility for me, my life, whatever's happening here. I have my 100%. I'm going to just go, okay. And then I think when we get a little bit more serious about how we show up, everything else gets easier. I don't think you need, personally, like, any more trainings. I think it's more of a, like, I don't even want to use the word accountability. I think it's more like the camaraderie that you're doing this thing together. And as you've locked arms, you're like, hey, we have this common mission. We all want to build this business. We all want to have the freedoms that we want, whether it's financially, time freedom. We want to help other people, the gist, the 5 reasons that people sign up for what we do. And then it's more like, hey, how are you doing with it? Misty, how's it going? Are you doing good? Cool. Hey, I just got a new great Celeste. Oh my God, you just crushed it last month. That's amazing. Look what you did. And that energy just brings everybody up. And it's just like in sports, when you play with somebody better and your game just goes up. That's a really great thing. So let me pause for a second. And Whitney, you can tell me where you want to go. I'm going to look through your notes that we had. And then let's tie a bow on this about why the fourth quarter is so crazy important as I see it and as most see it.
Does anybody have anything? Misty, do you have anything?
Maybe just some tips on how to close out the fourth quarter. Like how do we start that momentum? Creating goals first, or writing those down, getting accountability partners, or what do you suggest?
Okay. That's great. That's a fantastic question. So one, the fourth quarter is super important because what you do right now absolutely paints the picture of what's going to happen for you in the beginning of the year. In the beginning of the year, it's kind of like fish in a barrel. People have their motivation at the highest. But what happens in February and March when the gyms start to go, things get empty because all those New Year's resolution people just took a dump and they quit or they whatever. Life got in the way. Oh, yeah, this happened, that happened. Oh, my dog died. I twisted my ankle. My best friend looked at me wrong, whatever. People, seriously, it's like the excuse factory. And people can make something happen or they can make excuses, but they can't make both. So I just know from all the years I've done this, I've been a coach for 8.5 years, that truly how much we fill the pipeline in the fourth quarter is how many people we have in the new year. And so right now, I looked at September's numbers and historically September for some reason is just always an off month. It's the weirdest thing to me that school goes in and that's a time for people to take a dump. I don't get it. I kind of don't get it. But guess what? Whatever happened in September is from what came before. And so if you just look at it like summer, because you kind of go, okay, in 30, 60, 90 days before September, what was going on? Well, for me, I did the reset twice over the summer. I did it in the beginning. I did it at the end of summer. I have this cool story, and I was like, wait a second. I probably could have shared that more efficiently. Probably could have shared it a little more often, told different pieces of that story, and I probably could have made a cool video that would have tied the whole story together. And a great action piece for you is to seriously take a 2 to 3 minute video of you sharing why you love what you do. So an easy mindset for that, as far as an action item is, get a camera in the windshield of the car. Get one of those suction cup deals at the gas station or Best Buy or wherever they sell that stuff, to go clamp your phone in the dash. And then if you're riding shotgun and your best friend's driving the car, okay, let's say Misty and Whitney, you guys are just driving down the street and it's a nice long drive. It's no stop signs, no turns, you're just cruising. And Misty, you're driving and you're like, Whitney, hey, so this Beachbody thing, you're all about it. What do you love about this? And then in 2 or 3 minutes or less, you answer that question. And usually I find that when people get to the point, they can answer that question pretty fast. It's almost surprising. You don't need to be repetitive. If you get it in 60 seconds, hit it and quit it, you're done. And so to make 3 videos, why do you love what you do? Then why do you love this Shakeology stuff so much? And then why do you love these workouts? You're all about PiYo. You're all about this. Or you're a yoga person and you do this PiYo and you do these other things. What do you love about that? And your story might be, oh my gosh, I'm a total yogi and I love to integrate these other things to what I do. I found that this just made it, I don't know, my energy's better, my fitness is better, I'm lighter, or I'm this, or my waist is this, or whatever. I don't know what it is. You're telling your story. But we all have to, whoever tells the story the most times wins. So as an action item, how do you get that story told more times? And then my next question would be, how do you tell it more efficiently? And my change agent in October of 2009, why I went up 500% in business in 12 months, 5 times income, and took it from part-time income to 6 figures and then some, the same year I was bankrupt, is that I got people in front of the story. And it wasn't even my video. Back then it was the Decide disc. I had to handle the disc. That sucked. And then later people, it was on links, and then nobody wanted to open a link because they're like, oh my God, you're going to give me a virus on my computer and I'm going to die. And you're like, what? Today, you've never had an easier time at getting somebody to open a freaking link. Nobody gives a crap about opening a link. They'll open any link you send them, unless it came from some Timbuktu dude in China. You're like, yeah, I'm not going to open that. Or you get copied by every, your email gets ghosted or hacked, and next thing you know, if my name's Mike, everybody that has a name that starts with M is in an email. I'm not going to open that. But when it's you, I know you. I'm going to okay, yeah, I got 48 mutual friends. I got 500 mutual friends. Or I've known this person since second grade. Of course, I'm going to open it. They will open your video. So you don't have any friction in getting the freaking thing open. All you need to do is make the video so you have something to share. And I'm telling you, this has been this epiphany for me, like the last, 24 hours, that I have not done a good job on putting my video together of what did I do this summer. Because I don't want to tell this 21-day story. I want to tell a story of what did I do this summer. Because guess what? I did the Ultimate Reset in June, and then I traveled for 5 weeks. I thought that was going to be like a 7 or 8 day long travel. It turned into 2.5 weeks. We got home, and that wasn't travel, but we moved for a week, and that was pure hell. And then I went to Summit for a couple weeks, and then had a couple more days. So basically it was 5 weeks of more or less travel, including a move. And I ate like hell, and I ended up drinking more. And I'm going, wow, I lost half my results from the reset. I'm going to do this thing again. I'm going to do it right. And then I'm going to just wrap a bow on it and go, look, guys, life happens. And the number one question I get from every one of my reset customers, number one, is what do I do when this thing's over? I can follow this plan. You're telling me how to do it. You have this great book. You have this great system that's totally proven. You did it. You're an example of this thing. And you're going to coach me through it. But what do I do when it's over? That is what they all want. Seriously, number one question on the Ultimate Reset you'll ever get. What do I do when the freaking thing is over? So I should have had, I'm going to make this video. This is on my hot burner front page to-do list item. And then for the fourth quarter, how many people can I get in front of that video? So I have a buddy who's a lawyer buddy of mine from back east who's been a Beachbody coach for a long time, not on our team, really great guy. He is also a big personal development guy, and he ended up being a personal development speaker, trainer. He's done all sorts of really neat background. And so I watch what he does, and just as an example, he has this great collection of these stories on YouTube that he's pushing to. Okay, so it's not just taking the YouTube video and sharing it on Facebook over and over. At some point, that falls on deaf ears. He's putting new, fresh, small content on Instagram, as an example, to push to that video. So he does these little teaser clips that are short that he knows people will watch. And they're scrolling through Instagram, and they're like, oh, that's kind of cool. There's Marvin again. And then as he's sharing that, he's like, hey, so you know what? I'm going to keep this short. If you want to hear the rest of the story, hop on this link. It's in the top of my bio. So he makes sure that day, before he made this video, he put the link to that video that he's going to talk about in his bio on Instagram, where they can just go up and click on it and go check out the rest of the thing. That's fantastic. I had a girl I talked to on our team last night and a little bit more this morning who's doing a version of that from Pinterest, that she's communicating with so many women on Pinterest. That's fantastic. I don't care where it is. It's learning how to connect the dots, how to weave the people together. So I want you to picture yourself, you're a seamstress of life, and you're going to weave this story. You're going to weave the people together and bring this fabric together to this, I don't know, it's kind of like a harmony. Like you're bringing this thing together where people are like, oh man, I've got the support, I've got the tools, I feel good, I feel safe. That's usually, if you get on a psychological level, I think that's where people really go, is they feel this great sense of safety and trust that you're going to take them down the right path. So Misty, to be specific on answering your question on action items for the fourth quarter, it's how many people can you get on your list? And your list is not the hit list. It's your list of people you want to help. And so everybody I talk to, everybody I come in contact with goes on my list. The guy I met tonight, we just moved in this neighborhood over the summer. I met one of the dads at soccer. I coached 2 teams, so I was at practice before this one. I met this guy who lives 3 doors down. I was intentional about meeting him instead of just ignoring him at the end of practice, which would have been easy. It's what most parents do. They just kind of, oh, hey, okay, get your stuff, come on, get your stuff, and they go to the car. They rush their kids for no reason. It's the weirdest thing. And so I met this guy, traded contact info. Hey, I'm your new neighbor. How's it going? Man, your son has a great attitude out here. I mean, seriously, a compliment goes a long freaking way. And I hope it's not a BS compliment. Like, it needs to be, you could be in line at the store and some girl stand in front of you and she has the cutest shoes ever. And you're like, oh my God, those are the cutest shoes ever. Or I'll compliment somebody on their smile or whatever it is, because I think everybody is important. I don't care if you're the janitor or you're the CEO, like that doesn't matter. It's just that we're all people. we're on this high speed spinning rock in the middle of freaking nowhere in the universe, and we're trying to do this stuff. We got one shot to live this life. And guess what? Subconsciously, everybody has the same goals. So when you talk about make a list of goals, I think on your goal list, it's just going to be, I want to help a lot of people. And maybe you define it. I want 100 names on my list. And then go, how long is it going to take to put 100 names on your list? Well, guess what? For some of you, that might be a day. It might be a week, because you might get a memory jogger list out. That's a proactive item. And then fill that thing out like crazy. And then just a simple reach out, an actionable item for what do you do with those people. Call them all. Yeah, I know, on the phone. It's crazy. You're like, Janet, hey, how's it going? It's Whitney. What's going on? I haven't talked to you in a long time. I just want to tell you hello. I want to tell you what I'm doing and just see how you are. And so like, hey, I have this company I started. I'm doing online fitness and nutrition coaching. I freaking love it. Oh my God, I've met the best people ever. I just want to let you know what I'm doing. How are you? And then chit chat back and forth. Great. Hey, you know what? It's so great to hear from you. I just wanted to drop you a line. Maybe your intent of the call is not to recruit them. It's to really just tell them what you're doing. Tell them that you love it. And hey, and if you come across anybody who's looking or they're talking about getting healthy or whatever, would you please pass my name along? I'd really appreciate that. That has got to be one of the most simple ways to get referrals. And guess what? It'll magically come up because then they're paying attention to it. No different than if you buy a Volkswagen Bug and you're driving around town and next thing you know, you're like, my God, everybody's got the same damn car. You just all of a sudden pay attention to that thing. So by you planting that seed with them, they will pay more attention to that seed. And somebody of those people will give you referrals. And so how long does it take to get 100 names on your list? And on the memory jogger, here's what's really fascinating about this. And it blew me away in the beginning. And this is why Judd Welty's so great. And just since you guys are all part of his team, statistically, people know over 1,000 people by first name, like on a first name basis. I would have never believed that. I'm like, oh God, that's such a lie. That's such one of those stupid stats, blah, blah, blah. Then I started filling out a memory jogger list, and I only had so much time to give it at the moment. So I was really like, wow, I got a lot of names and not a lot of time. That's really weird. And I kept coming back to it. And oh my God, I was over 2,000 names on my list. And so when I signed Judd up, I ran into Judd and Christy at gymnastics. We were at American Academy Gymnastics for the kids. And it was their first time out of the house after Christy had Brody. And so I just knew that Judd was into working out. I knew he was into building businesses. And I was like, this is a great guy. I've known this guy for a long time. He's a great guy. And so I was like, hey, what's going on? Blah, blah, how's it going? And he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, real estate crashed. And I said, so now that P90X thing on TV? I go, yeah, they have this business opportunity. I'm like, all I know is I'm loving it. I'm having fun. And really, I love that I've been able to help some people get really tremendous gain in their life as far as health. I'm like, I really love it. So anyway, how are you doing? I'm like, have you ever checked that out? And he's like, no. I'm like, well, dude, I'll just send you some info. And he was all about it. And then when I watched him fill out his memory jogger list, that guy drove around with that freaking list. Like, it just kept getting bigger and paper and more paper and more. It was bigger and bigger and thicker. And it's like, you're going to have to go to chiropractor if you sit on that. It's like sitting on a big, thick wallet. And he just kept adding name after name after name. And guess what? That's why his business blew up so fast. It was unbelievable. He didn't have some magic talk. He didn't have some magic formula. He just found out, how can I get the story in front of as many people as possible? And what you'll see is that your YouTube video is going to live on and on and on. And you can keep using it to market, and nobody gives a crap about the date ever. But a Facebook post is gone tomorrow. It's gone right now. 7 to 10% of the people you're friends with on Facebook see those posts. So the magic thing in any kind of social media or Google or email is, how do you get somebody to see your stuff? So I was talking to Trey Bearer, who makes all these great videos. He's, I think, one of the most gifted guys at making videos, because he's just really authentically himself, which is there's your biggest ticket item of the night. Be yourself, because nobody else can. And don't give a crap about what anybody else thinks. But he was telling me when we did that Dallas men's event, and this is very significant to me, I feel this is a big, significant tell to this, that he was recruiting, he was in talks to recruit 4 guys at that time who had all seen the same video that he had made a year prior. And he goes, that's why I'm making videos, because then it's, where can I go place those videos? Where can I put them? Where can I drive traffic to see that? And then you can get into being a specialist in learning things about ClickFunnels or email campaigns or cell phone marketing, or how to just push from Instagram to your video, or Pinterest to your video, or Facebook to your video, or Facebook ads, so you can get people in front of your video. Then it's a whole new set of conversations to have about, hey, Mike, how do you do these? How do you do that? I'll tell you how. I find the best person in those things. And what Anna Gray did on her team to test out Facebook ad training, she took the two most popular people at the moment doing ad training, right? And she did an A and a B group. She goes, okay, who all wants to be in an ad training with Facebook stuff? It's probably going to cost you $10 to $50. I don't know what it's going to cost, but we're going to take the two top people. We're going to split up and do an A group and a B group. We're going to see who gets better results. Holy crap. They're all engaged. They're all into it. And they're both getting really good results. But then they're having conversations about what's going on. And they're masterminding and they're brainstorming about how to be the best at Facebook ads. So if you want to be great at something, get with other people that are doing the same thing, just like this. This team call is your campfire. And you get away from it and you get cold. And you're like, shit, I got to warm up. Great. Get by the huddle, get by the campfire, get warmed up. And seriously, as far as these calls go and as far as the meetings go, when you're having a good week, this meeting needs you. When you're having a bad week, you need the meeting. And it's just to get your batteries charged, or sometimes it's like you're just like, woo, I got so much energy. Great, let me give you some. Great, here's some for you. Here's some for you. You already know what to do. It's connect with people. They don't give a crap about how much you know. They just want to know how much you care. So don't try to be the fun fact person. Like, facts tell and stories sell. Just share from the heart. Be authentic. Seriously, that be authentic, be you, that is everything. That is the most important thing ever. And be okay that it is not everybody's time to say yes. I don't consider anybody a no. It's always a not right now, because everybody's situation in life changes. Mine has, yours has, theirs has. Sometimes it's as simple as describing that by saying, oh, well, she had a baby. Okay, great. And then maybe she wants to get back in shape, or maybe, everybody knows the fastest ways to get hormones balanced back out is good food, good exercise. And if that didn't work, great, let's get into a doc and see if there's anything else we need to do. But usually consistent good food and good exercise tends to help balance that out, because most of the times a hormone issue is an adrenal issue. Your adrenals screw with your thyroid, which really screws with your hormones. So you could take that and make that into a video. You're like, oh my God, I was on this call the other night and this guy's telling me about hormones and adrenals. And all I know is that I've had so many girlfriends who got their hormones were all whacked out of nowhere. And we're like, what the hell? And then he's like, wait a second. If eating clean and exercising really helps that, what the hell would you not want to do that? You can literally affect that today. You can work out, and in like 20 to 30 minutes, the hormone flow starts to come on. And at like 30 to 40 minutes, it is just flooding, right? And it's literally a flood. It's the hippocampus part of your brain. It releases dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, and norepinephrine. And if it also has something tied to love, like a warm embrace, like a hug, like say you get, like literally get done with a workout, hug one of your kids or hug somebody you love. Because then the hug, the warmth, the love part releases oxytocin. Now you have 5 of the most magical cocktail of feel-good chemicals ever released from your brain. That's called neurotropic brain function. You know where I learned that? Friggin' listening to Tony Horton speak at Summit, speaking at a call, speaking to this, speaking to that. I'm like, the hell did you just say? And then, Google. And I Googled it. And then I read it enough times where I could sit there and blah, 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 these freaking words. But in a 30-second spiel, you just told somebody how to fix their freaking hormones. You know how many people have hormone issues? Holy shit. Like, it's freaking everywhere. It's crazy. And then sometimes you get people that do everything right and they still have hormone issues. That's why I said then they need to get to a doctor and let's find out. And like a specialist, right? Like an endocrinologist would be the person to go to. And because I can show you pictures like one of my male friends who has had the same diet, the same training, super, super efficient, very knowledgeable, and a voracious researcher. And his body's changed dramatically in the last few months. Like, I don't know if it's 3 or 4 months, 3 months, let's just call it, doing everything right. He had Hashimoto's. He has an issue. So that's a whole nother thing. But my point is that you can latch on to any little part of these things that you want to be a specialist in. And so be a specialist, be a niche marketer, and then get your stories memorialized. I know that, like I said, through failure, we'll learn more than you could ever imagine. Like, we need to fail. We need to screw up to learn things. So my screw up is that I haven't told enough of these stories on my YouTube channel. And then when I go do that, this is my hot ticket item right now, mind you, and I hope it is for you too. They need to be bite-sized stories, and they need to be on singular topics. So I might tell a real estate story. I might have a few different versions of the real estate story. I could tell that hormone story. I could tell these different things. And then when somebody posts about, hey, maybe it's not even maybe it's a friend of a friend, and for some reason it comes up in my Facebook feed, and they say, hey, yeah, man, I gotta go to the doc because of hormones. I could put a comment on there, and I could send them a message and say, hey, you know what? I saw your post. I made a video on that topic, recently or last year or whatever. Why don't you check that out before you go to the doc, just so that maybe you're armed with a little more info, and maybe it makes a difference or it takes the edge off. I don't know if it's going to cure it, but like, what if it just made it not as big of a problem?
Yeah.
Oh my God, all I'm doing is adding value to somebody's life.
Once during the week, and then we eat all week. So it's like you cook once and you eat a million times.
Yeah. So maybe within your team, you do a little challenge of like, how many videos have you made? And then, but also I think it'd be cool too for you guys, even with the overlapping ones, to keep a document in the file section of your team page, or maybe you just make this a Google Drive. So it's, I don't know, you do it however you want to do it, but just as an idea, what if you guys had a list of all these stories from each other to share? And so then when you're talking to somebody, like my thing is I feel like I'm gifted at sharing stories. Guess what? A lot of them, most of them are not mine. I'll remember yours. I'll remember his. I'll be like, if I can't find one, I'm going to Google it because I want to go fix that problem. I want to go add value to their life. And then guess what? If I do, chances are they're going to want to work with me on some level. My intent is always to build a relationship. At some point, then the points and the money and the business is a result. It's not my intent. My intent is build relationships. So, and add value. And then I work diligently to be consistent at funneling them into places. And guess what? It's not a singular funnel where it's all dropping down the same thing. Maybe they end up just being a really good friend. That'd be nice. Maybe they end up being a colleague, or maybe they end up being somebody I just, I'm happy to see when I run into them at wherever. I don't know what it's going to be. But I know that people can sniff your intent from a mile away. So if your intent is points and money, they're going to know it. I know I have a guy who calls me from here in Bend about meeting every so often, and I know he wants to sell me something. And to the point where the last meeting I said, look, man, I just told him, just to get this guy off my back, I said, I don't have the time. I don't have the money to spend and invest in your deal. I go, if you just want to have lunch, I'm already going to have lunch at this place on this day. I'm happy to enjoy your company for that hour and have another meeting that starts right after that. So I got 60 minutes or less if you want to share a meal. And then guess what he did? He came there and he tried to sell me. All right, you're off my list. I don't want to talk to you ever again. Like you broke my trust. Then he could have just been a friend, and he probably would have gotten a lot further with me. And then guess what? At some point when I had the money to buy what he's trying to sell, which was expensive, maybe he'd be the guy to call.
Right.
Not now. Now I'll do anything to find somebody else. I'll research it more and find some stranger because of the way that guy treated me. So I think that's just human nature. So I think for your fourth quarter action items, it's tell your stories, make your videos. Your number 1, 2, 3 videos is answer, why do you love what you do? Why do you love this Shakeology stuff so much? And why do you love these workouts? And I don't care if you're the person that does Insanity Max 36 days a week, 24/7, or if you're the person that's like, all these people live in Bend. This is the freakiest town. There are so many athletes. It's ridiculous. Like, it's the anomaly if you're not fit here, which is awesome and interesting and weird. But so here it's a hybrid market. I'm not going to get somebody that's going to go 90 days on anything. I probably won't even get them to go 21 days because they're skiing, they're riding bikes, they're running. They'll ride their bikes in the snow. They'll run in the snow. Like it's wild. They just want to go play. So you have to adjust for your market. So study your market. What does your market want? What does your market need? And find a need and fix it. And then, have fun because it's freaking fun. If you're not having fun, you want to get readjusted. So to speak to that as briefly as I can, you need to do things that nurture you. What are when I heard through like when Kelly and I were going on through all the marriage stuff and we're in counseling for a couple of years, and the theme that kept coming up from the counselor and the theme that kept coming up from my close friends was, Mike, you need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of yourself. I honestly didn't know what that meant. I thought, eat right and exercise. Is it this? Was it standing up for yourself? Like I was unclear. So for you, soul search that a little bit. What are the things in your life that make you feel good? What are the things that recharge your batteries? Because if you're extroverted, it's probably getting around people in positive social situations. If you're introverted, it's going to be more towards getting time by yourself, one-on-one, go out, get in the forest, go to the beach, do something with nature. I don't know what it is, but think about what that is for you, whether that's a massage once a week, I don't care what it is, but get that stuff in your schedule because that's going to help take the edge off of the stress in life, the distractors in life. I think it keeps you centered. And the thing is, if you're living in the past, you're not in the present. If you're worried about the future, you're not in the present. And you know what it's like. It's kind of like if you're just sitting here on your phone and you're talking to somebody, you're not paying attention to them. You're not present in the moment. So when you're fully present in the moment, I feel that you will get so much further with these people in conversation, it'll almost shock you and be like, oh my God, this is freaking weird. Like, I sold a challenge pack on a chairlift once. I was sitting with Adam Carr, Tara Carr's husband. She's a super top coach, way bigger than I am, from back east. And I didn't even remember I did this. He brought it up at the men's event in Dallas. I'm like, oh yeah, the cat's cancer. And then I told him the whole story because I remember the guy's story. And sometimes they go fast like that, and sometimes they take a year. But people are watching you. They're watching you on social media, and they really are waiting. Like, when their situation changes, as long as you're the one that was consistent and you treated them right, they will go with you. It's just a matter of how do you get connected when their situation changes. And it could be as the innocuous greeting of like, hey, just checking in to say hello. How are you doing? Or the last time you talked to them, they talked about going to a wedding. Hey, so you went to that? I know you're going to a wedding before. Was that a good time? Or did you get a cute dress for that? Or like, how'd that go? And so anyway, I could go on and on, but I hope that helps. Whitney, is there anything I can, like in 60 seconds or less, tell you?
No, I think you're awesome. Thank you so much for doing this. I know you wanted a hard stop like 20 minutes ago.
I know. We're going to a concert right now. She surprised me with concert tickets for tonight. And so I got to go.
Yeah,
so thank you so much. I really hope you guys appreciate the team you're on. And I'm not talking about me. I mean, Whitney's a fantastic leader. Misty's awesome. Celeste, I mean, like, you're coming up. Like, you guys are all doing this awesome stuff. You're part of the Welties. You guys have a lot of really positive people to lock arms with. I just say the rising tide all ships float. So let's all just share the good stuff that's working. And you don't have to get caught up in what doesn't work. Like, let's just get caught up in what does work and then do more of that. And if you don't know what works, then think about, okay, well, if Whitney's doing what works, great. Find out what she's doing and copy it and have fun. And that's it.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
All right. You guys have a good night. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mike.
All right. Have a good one.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time.
All right. Talk to you.
Okay. Oh, there's my little man. Hi, little man. Hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. Look at those cheeks. Look at those cheeks. He's so cute.
Yeah.
Say hi to Whitney.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, buddy. What are you doing? Do you have your jammies on? Time for sleeping.
Check on the cat.